Hello, my friend. Welcome to our channel, Sleep Hypnosis, the Sea. My name is Mushroom. I am a storyteller, and it is an honor to be the voice you listen to as you go to sleep tonight. Okay, let's start the relaxation part. It will take just a few minutes before we begin tonight's sleep story. This is your space to let go, to rest. So, take a slow, steady breath in, hold it gently, and now exhale softly. Feel your body sinking a little deeper into the mattress beneath you. Let your shoulders drop, your jaw unclench, your eyes soften. Imagine yourself standing at the edge of a quiet ocean. The air is cool, carrying the faintest scent of salt and seaweed. The waves roll in slowly, as though they, too, are half asleep. Now, let's walk through the door together into a story that will soothe your soul, carry you weightlessly, and lull you toward the deep, healing rest you deserve tonight. You shuffle a little in your bed, adjusting your pillow like a captain steering their ship before setting sail. The fabric is soft against your cheek, and the covers press down lightly, almost like the faintest hug. You breathe in, slow and steady, and there it is. The beginning of that floating sensation, the gentle unhooking of your body from gravity's everyday tug. It starts in your toes, doesn't it? They feel light, unbothered, almost like tiny little rafts bobbing in calm waters. The warmth from your blanket mixes with the coolness of the room, creating that perfect balance that makes your body whisper, "Ah, yes, this is the spot." You let yourself sink, but at the same time, there's that strange, delicious paradox. You're sinking deeper and yet floating higher, as if invisible waves are carrying you. And those waves, they're not crashing or rushing, nothing dramatic, no Baywatch scene with slow motion running. Just a soft, rhythmic rise, and your breath matches them naturally. Inhale with the wave pulling back. Exhale with it rolling in. Your chest expands like a tide, then releases like a sigh the world doesn't get to hear. Now, as you float here, your mind might toss you a random memory, like that time you tried to balance on a pool float and ended up flipping dramatically into the water while your friends pretended not to laugh. But here, in this space, the floating feels effortless. There's no splash, no panic, just you held gently. You can almost see it if you want. Close your eyes tighter and imagine the ocean stretched wide beneath you. Its surface glimmers with soft moonlight, broken only by the tiniest ripples. You're not swimming, not struggling. You're simply there, supported, free. And isn't it odd how humans have always been obsessed with floating? There's a little fact you might like. In the 1960s, researchers designed sensory deprivation tanks, dark, soundproof little pods filled with warm, salty water. Here you float completely weightless. The idea was to calm the nervous system, unlock creativity, maybe even bend the mind into mystical experiences. Some people loved it. Others, well, let's just say, claustrophobia had different plans. Historians still debate whether those experiments were more science or more psychedelic adventure, but what's certain is that people discovered the healing in surrendering to weightlessness. That's what you're doing now. Surrendering. The funny thing about floating is that your brain doesn't quite know if you're rising or sinking. It gets a little confused in the most delightful way, and suddenly you're somewhere in between. A liminal space, they call it. A threshold between waking and dreaming. That's where you are right now. You might even imagine yourself drifting through history as you float. Picture ancient Egyptians lying back in the Nile after a long, blistering day, cooling their skin and feeling their worries carried away by the current. They probably weren't doing it for stress relief, but let's be honest, they deserved it. Building pyramids in the heat of the desert. No amount of cucumber water was going to fix that. And then there's you, thousands of years later, floating in your own quiet sea of thought. No pyramid construction required. Just the slow dance of water beneath your body, the stars above like tiny lanterns hung on the sky, and the moon keeping watch like an old friend who never sleeps. A breeze brushes past. Can you feel it? It's not real, of course, but your imagination is generous. It gives you the sensation anyway. The breeze smells of salt and something fresh, like seagrass swaying at the edge of the shore. It lifts your hair slightly, makes your skin tingle with its coolness, and then it passes, leaving only the calm warmth of your floating body. And then you chuckle to yourself, half asleep, because you realize you've been floating in your mind for so long that you can't quite tell if your body is even touching the mattress anymore. You might be levitating for all you know. And honestly, that would be kind of awesome. Imagine waking up tomorrow and telling someone, "Oh yeah, I floated 3 inches above my bed last night, totally casual." As you drift in this floating freedom, time begins to blur. The minutes slip away like sand through an open palm. You don't chase them. You don't even care. Your body is lighter, your mind slower, and everything unnecessary is simply gone. There's a story, small, quiet, almost forgotten, of sailors who crossed the Atlantic centuries ago. Some wrote in their journals about lying on their decks at night, staring up at skies unpolluted by city lights, feeling as though the ship itself was floating not on water, but in the heavens. The sea blended with the stars, and they said it was impossible to tell where one ended and the other began. One sailor wrote, "It felt as if we were cradled between 2 eternities." You get that, don't you? That sense that floating is not just physical, but cosmic. And here you are, between 2 eternities. Every breath carries you a little further into it. Every exhale dissolves another thread of tension, like scissors snipping a knot you didn't know was tied inside you. Your jaw is softer, your eyelids heavier, your heartbeat slower. The floating continues, The rhythm of waves deepens. The hush of night expands. And maybe, just maybe, your lips curve into the faintest smile because, let's be honest, it feels ridiculously good to be this free, this unburdened, this light, and you didn't even have to rent a flotation tank. Your floating body drifts further into the quiet sea of sleep, and the world around you begins to dissolve like watercolor bleeding gently into paper. You are floating. You are free. You are safe. The floating doesn't stop. It simply shifts. The lightness you've been feeling, that delicious, weightless drifting, now eases you into a new texture, as though the water beneath you has thickened slightly, turning warmer, silkier. You feel it wrap around your body, not like ordinary ocean water, but like something made just for healing, a kind of liquid embrace that says, "You're safe here. Let go a little more." Your skin tingles as it soaks in the warmth. Every inch of you sighs in relief. Your legs, your back, your arms, even your scalp feels it, as though each hair is loosening its tiny grip on stress. The water carries you fully now, and you realize you don't have to do anything. No effort, no swimming, just existing is enough. And as this realization sinks in, you're reminded of a strange fact from history. Roman bathhouses. Whole communities used to gather in those steamy marble chambers, soaking in pools heated by clever aqueduct system. But it wasn't just about cleaning. It was about healing. Romans believed the waters carried away illness, restored balance, maybe even scrubbed the soul a little cleaner. Some people stayed for hours, gossiping, arguing politics, or just dozing off against the tile while steam curled around their faces. Imagine that. Centuries ago, people seeking exactly what you're doing right now. Relief, restoration, the reset button for body and mind. The water around you pulses faintly, like it's alive, keeping rhythm with your breath. When you inhale, the surface glows faintly brighter. When you exhale, it darkens into a deeper, calmer hue. You glance around in your mind's eye and realize the sea is not just an ordinary ocean, but something more, something sacred, almost mythic. Its glow is faint, not blinding, like phosphorescent plankton lighting up the waves when disturbed. Tiny specks glitter around your hands as you trail them lazily through the water. You're not just floating, you're glowing too. And isn't it curious? Historians still debate whether those first sailors who described glowing seas at night were exaggerating or simply lucky witnesses to bioluminescence. Some dismissed it as superstition, while others swore it was proof of divine presence. But you, right now, you know exactly what they meant. The glow is here, soothing, undeniable, shimmering all around you. You drift a little further, deeper into the healing waters. There's a memory you might conjure up, like running a hot bath after an exhausting day. You sink in, grown like a grumpy cartoon character, and for a moment you wonder if you should just live in the tub forever. That same relief magnifies here. It's like every tired cell in your body is dipping into its own perfect bath. Your shoulders unclench. Your spine stretches just a little longer. Your heartbeat doesn't rush anymore. It strolls, like it's finally taking a vacation. You let yourself slip further, deeper, not down exactly, but inward. The waters don't drown you. They hold you, massage you, carry away things you didn't even know were weighing you down. And maybe you think of mythology, stories of rivers that healed or cleansed. The river Lethe in Greek myth was said to wash away memories. Imagine if you dipped your fingers into that river now. Every worry, every embarrassing memory of tripping in public, every restless thought at 3 a.m. just dissolved instantly. A blank slate. It sounds tempting, doesn't it? But the waters you float in tonight are kinder than myth. They don't erase, they renew. They let you keep what you need and rinse away the clutter you don't. You laugh softly in your drifting mind because, let's be real, if this water could bottle itself and sell at supermarkets, it would put coffee, therapy, and yoga mats out of business overnight. The glow around you shifts again, and now it feels almost historical. You remember how in medieval Europe, people made pilgrimages to healing springs, natural mineral waters, Rao said to cure everything from arthritis to heartbreak. Some of those springs are still there today, bubbling away, visited by tourists who dip their hands in and pretend to be part of the legend. But here you found your own spring. No travel required, no long trek in sandals. Just your bed, your breath, your imagination. The water presses softly at your sides, not to push you away, but to remind you, you are supported. You are healed in every moment you surrender to this. A ripple passes through, almost like a whisper. You could swear the sea itself is humming, low and deep, a sound you don't hear with your ears, but with your chest. It vibrates against your heart like a secret lullaby only you're allowed to receive. And with that, another thought drifts in. How water has been medicine for longer than history remembers. Think of the Ganges River, sacred for millennia, where countless rituals still unfold today. To bathe in it is not just to cleanse the body, but to heal the spirit. People have carried jars of that water across continents, believing in its power to mend unseen wounds. You may not be standing in a river now, but your body believes just the same. This water, imaginary yet completely real in sensation, is healing you. You tilt your head back in the vision, letting your ears dip below the surface. The world muffles instantly. Your breath is louder, your heartbeat more present. You hear nothing else. No cars, no chatter, no lists of things undone. Just you, submerged in silence, wrapped in warmth. Isn't it funny how water can feel like both weight and freedom at once? Like when you cannonball into a pool, for half a second you think, wow, this is heavy, and then, suddenly, you're floating, free again. That's the paradox of healing too. Sometimes it feels heavy, sometimes it feels light, but always, if you surrender, it carries you somewhere better. The healing waters shift again, flowing through your veins now, trickling into your thoughts. You feel them spess, weep away leftover stress, like leaves being carried downstream. Every corner of you feels rinsed, polished, renewed. And just like that, you're smiling again, eyes heavy, heart lighter. The water does its work without needing your permission, without asking you to prove anything. It just heals. That's its whole job. And right now, it's doing it perfectly. The waters keep carrying you, but now the scene above changes. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, the sky opens wider, darker, until the moon rises heavy and round, casting silver light across the vastness. The surface of the sea mirrors it so faithfully that for a moment you can't tell if you're floating beneath the moon or inside it. It's that same sensation those old sailors described, caught between two eternities. The glow isn't harsh. It's not the kind of light that keeps you awake. No, it's the opposite. It's gentle, milky, soft as silk sheets pulled across a cool bed. The moon takes its time. It never hurries. It hangs above you like an old friend who just wants to sit nearby and keep you company while you drift. The rhythm of your floating slows with it. Your breaths lengthen. You don't just exhale, you pour yourself out like water from a jar. Every inhale feels like a tide rolling back. Every exhale feels like the moon pulling it away. And because the moonlight feels so ancient, your thoughts begin weaving history into your drifting. You remember how humans have always tracked their lives by the moon, planting crops, planning festivals, predicting tides. Imagine the farmers of Mesopotamia, thousands of years ago, staring up at this exact same glow, deciding when to sow their barley fields. Historians still debate whether their early calendars were based more on the sun or the moon, but either way, they were watching the same orb you're watching now. The continuity is staggering, isn't it? You floating here tonight and them, bent over dusty fields, both under the same sky. Your floating body smiles again because it feels oddly comforting to think the moon has been people's nightlight for all of history and not just a practical one. The moon was also myth, story, dream. The Greeks imagined Selene, the goddess who drove her glowing chariot across the night sky. The Japanese spoke of rabbits pounding rice cakes on the moon's surface. And you just float, no need for myth or rice cakes, but still feeling part of that long, unbroken human wonder. You glance at the sea around you, and it too has shifted. The glow of the waters merges with the moonlight, creating a shimmering path across the surface. Sailors once called it a moon road, a trail of light stretching toward the horizon. You see it now, rippling faintly, inviting you onward. And the funny thing, you don't even need to swim. The water beneath you knows the way. You're carried gently, your body aligned with that silver path, like you're on some cosmic lazy river. No paddle, no effort, just drift. It reminds you of childhood, those times you lay in the back seat of a car on a long drive at night, watching the moon follow you through the windows. Remember that odd feeling? Like no matter how fast the car went, the moon just refused to let you go. You laughed, wondering if it was secretly your guardian. And maybe tonight you realize it always was. The drifting continues, and with it, a light joke bubbles up in your drowsy mind. You think, if the moon can tug on the entire ocean, maybe that's why it also tugs on my mood. That explains it, the I'm fine days, and the why did my shoelace breaking feel like the end of the world days. Lunar gravity, obviously. NASA should confirm it. Still smiling, you stretch slightly in your float and notice your body moving like seaweed, slow, languid, swaying with invisible currents. You don't resist. Why would you? The moonlit water knows better than you how to move tonight. The horizon tilts, and for a moment, you're not just floating, you're traveling. Across time, across places. The moon above you doubles as a clock, as a compass, as a portal. You see flashes of other nights from history, medieval travelers staring at it as they crossed dangerous forests, Polynesian navigators reading its glow alongside the stars to find their way across thousands of miles of open ocean. Can you imagine that? Just a canoe, no GPS, no maps, only the moon and the stars. And they made it. Their faith in the night sky was so deep, it literally carried them across worlds. And here you are, carried by that same sky, different ocean, different time, but the same soft navigation, the moon guiding you into deeper rest. The water murmurs under you, a hush like distant voices too far away to disturb. It reminds you of that odd fact. Astronauts who stood on the moon described its surface as smelling like burnt gunpowder when they brought lunar dust back into the capsule. Strange, isn't it? To stare at something so luminous and romantic for all of human history, only to discover it smells like an old fireworks display. But lying here, drifting under its glow, you're glad you can only smell salt and softness. The moon road glimmers, and you feel yourself sliding further along it, almost like time itself has slowed. The edges of your thoughts blur. You don't cling to any of them, they just float away. Like driftwood carried by current, your eyelids are heavier now, and you realize you don't actually need to see the moon anymore to know it's there. Its glow is inside you, etched into the rhythm of your breath, flowing in the pulse of your body. You've become part of it, part of the old rhythm, the endless cycle, the eternal nightlight for restless travelers. And with that realization, you exhale again, longer this time, slower, like the tide finally deciding to rest. Moon above, sea below, you in between, and nothing else matters. But it's not the scary kind of silence, it's the healing kind, the kind that makes you think, this is what my mind's been craving all along. It's odd, isn't it? We spend so much time surrounded by noise that we forget silence isn't empty, it's full. Full of space, full of rest, full of unseen treasures. The silence here wraps around you like a blanket stitched from stillness itself. Your body slows even more. Your chest rises gently, falls gently, as though the water itself has claimed the job of breathing for you. And as you drift in this calm, you remember something from history, how monks in medieval Europe would retreat into underground stone chambers or caves, seeking absolute silence for prayer and contemplation. Some spent hours there, others days, wrapped in quiet so complete they described it as hearing God's breath. Historians still debate whether these reports were mystical visions or simply the brain reacting to sensory deprivation. But either way, the result was the same: silence that healed, silence that transformed. That's the silence you're in now. It reaches deeper, brushing gently against your subconscious. You may even feel old memories stirring faintly, like shadows moving behind curtains. But the silence doesn't force them up. It doesn't demand anything of you. It simply holds them, saying, "It's okay, rest here." A small, peculiar fact drifts into your awareness. Whales, when they dive into the deepest trenches, sometimes remain in silence for hours, communicating only with low, distant vibrations. Imagine that, giant creatures of the ocean, bigger than buses, choosing stillness over sound. And you, right now, are doing the same, diving with them, letting silence be your language. You chuckle softly, eyes heavy, because the image pops into your head. You, in pajamas, floating alongside a massive blue whale, like it's the most normal thing in the world. Maybe you'd even wave politely, like, "Hey, Nabo," and the whale, in its slow, dignified way, would nod back, both of you sharing the sacred quiet. The deeper you drift, the darker it becomes. But darkness here isn't frightening. It's velvet. It's soothing. You might imagine it like the blackout curtains you bought to finally block the street lamp outside your window. Complete darkness. No flickers, no intrusions, just the perfect cocoon for rest. And in that darkness, your body feels lighter still. Every worry, every restless thought gone, dissolved like ink vanishing in water. You realize how much weight you've been carrying, and you marvel at the fact that you didn't have to solve it. You didn't have to fix anything. You just had to float. the waters and the silence are doing the rest. Now, as you hover in these depths, your imagination might wander again. You might think of ancient philosophers who speculated about what lay beneath the sea. Aristotle believed the ocean had no end, that it was too vast for human comprehension. Sailors told tales of monsters lurking below, serpents big enough to swallow ships whole. But here you are, surrounded by the same deep sea, and instead of monsters, you find only healing. No kraken, no serpents, just peace. Funny how legends dramatize what is actually gentle. Still, there's that small flicker of curiosity inside you. What else is down here? And then the water answers, not with images, but with sensations. A pulse, a hum, a vibration that seems to come from the very core of the earth itself. It moves through you, steady, grounding, like the planet is reminding you, you belong here. You've always belonged here. The silence deepens further, but strangely, you don't feel cut off. You feel connected to history, to oceans, to moonlight far above, even to your own forgotten corners of thought. The stillness ties them together in one long, gentle thread. Your body drifts, weightless, but your mind drifts too. Thoughts rise and fall, not chaotic, but soft. Maybe you think about that odd time in history when scientists believed the ocean floor was flat and lifeless. Nothing could possibly survive the crushing depths. Centuries later, we discovered creatures thriving in darkness, glowing with their own light, like tiny lanterns of resilience. Isn't that exactly what's happening inside you now? In your deepest places, life thrives, even when it seems like darkness should have swallowed everything. You sigh, and it comes out like a ripple in the silence, a ripple of relief. And the silence, that vast healing space, whispers back, not in words, but in feeling. You can let go even more. So you do. Your heartbeat slows further. Your breath is a tide barely touching the shore. Your body feels like it has dissolved into the water, and for a moment, you wonder if you're even separate from it at all. Maybe you're not. Maybe you've become the ocean, the silence, the depth itself. And honestly, that thought feels pretty wonderful. The sleep of meditation, the silence of the deep holds you for a while longer, rocking you gently like a cradle set in motion by invisible hands. Then, slowly, almost imperceptibly, the water begins to shift again. The weightlessness is still there, but now there's a subtle current beneath you, a current not pulling you downward, but carrying you forward, towards something lighter, warmer. You don't resist. Why would you? The journey has been nothing but kindness so far, and this next chapter feels just the same. Gradually, you sense the darkness easing. It's not gone. You still carry the calm velvet of the depths, but it thins like mist, making room for something softer. A faint glow appears on the horizon. It isn't sharp, it isn't sudden. It's a slow blooming, like watercolor spreading across the page of the sky. Hues of pale pink, soft gold, muted lavender, dawn. You realize you've been drifting all night, carried by moon and silence, and now you're gliding toward the shore where morning waits. The water grows warmer as you near it, humming with a different kind of energy. This isn't the cleansing flow of the healing waters you passed through earlier, nor the hushed cradle of the silent depths. This is renewal. It feels like the body's quiet stretch after a long dreamless sleep, like lungs filling with the first breath of fresh morning air. The tide carries you closer to shore, and with it comes the sound of waves, soft, regular, reassuring. They lap gently, one after another, like the heartbeat of the earth itself. Each wave says, rest, restore, return. You imagine the shoreline ahead, a beach not crowded with sunburnt tourists and plastic chairs, but pristine, untouched, made just for you. Smooth sand, a scattering of seashells glistening like tiny treasures. Palm trees leaning slightly, their fronds swaying lazily in the early morning breeze. It's not just a shore, it's a beginning. Your body responds to the image. You feel lighter, stronger, not because you've lifted a weight, but because the weight has dissolved into the water behind you. Every step of this journey, the floating, the healing waters, the moonlit drift, the silent depths, has stripped away layers of heaviness you didn't know you were carrying. What's left is you, renewed. It makes you think of something from history again. Ancient Greece, where athletes after competition would bathe in the sea as a ritual of recovery. They believed salt water restored not just muscle, but spirit. Historians still debate whether it was the minerals in the water or simply the act of pausing to rest that made the difference. But either way, the athletes emerged from the sea ready to begin again. That's what you're doing now, emerging. The glow of dawn grows brighter, and the air around you feels fresher, crisp, almost sweet. You draw in a deep breath, and even in your bed you feel it, the expansion of your chest, the renewal in your lungs. You let it out slowly, and the exhale feels like gratitude itself. There's a playful part of you, even in this half-dream state, that jokes, wow, if every morning started with floating into shore like this, I'd actually be a morning person. You laugh quietly at the thought because you know mornings usually mean groggy alarms and coffee that tastes like survival. But tonight is different. Tonight, the morning greets you like a friend, not an obligation. The water eases you closer until, in your imagination, your toes brush against the sand. The texture is soft, not gritty, warm from the sun that hasn't even fully risen yet. You step gently, each movement unhurried, each breath matching the hush of the waves. You walk further until the water only brushes your ankles, then your calves, then nothing at all. Now you stand on the shore, gazing at the endless horizon of dawn. Behind you, the depths, the moonlit path, the healing waters. Ahead of you, a wide expanse of day not yet lived, not yet written. And in between, right where you stand, is peace. Another odd fact pops into your drifting mind. In Japan, people once practiced misogi, a ritual of standing beneath waterfalls at sunrise to wash away spiritual impurities. Imagine that, you standing under a waterfall, icy water pouring over you, and the sun rising to meet you. It sounds intense, maybe even uncomfortable, but at its core, it was about renewal. And in your own way, you've just done the same. Without the freezing water or the slippery rocks, you've washed your spirit clean in the quiet ocean of sleep. The beach hums with silence, broken only by the gentle rhythm of the tide. You look around and realize everything here glows faintly. Shells, sand, even the air seems tinged with golden light. It's the glow of beginning again, of renewal, of stepping softly into rest so complete it transforms you. Your eyelids grow heavier still. Your body sinks deeper into the mattress, as though the sand itself has formed beneath you, cushioning you in its warmth. You don't need to move anymore. You don't even need to think. The shore has arrived inside you, and as the sun crests the horizon, slow and patient, you let yourself blur with it. You don't need to hold on to the image of the sea, or the moon, or even the dawn. They've done their work. They've carried you here. The shore is peace. The shore is renewal. The shore is rest. And now, so are you. And so, my friend, the journey comes to its gentle end. You have floated through the weightless freedom of drifting seas. You have soaked in the warm embrace of healing waters. You have wandered beneath the silver glow of the moon, and you have surrendered into the velvet silence of the deep. Finally, you have stepped onto the soft shore of renewal, where the horizon opens and dawn greets you with its quiet promise. Notice how your body feels now, heavier in the bed, yet lighter in spirit. Each breath you take is slower, softer, as though time itself has stretched into something more forgiving. The muscles in your shoulders, your jaw, your back have melted away their tension. Even the thoughts that once crowded your mind have thinned into a haze, like mist dissolving into morning light. You have nothing to do here, nothing to achieve. Sleep is not a task, it is a gift, and tonight that gift is yours. So allow yourself to drift fully now. Let your body fall deeper into stillness, as though the mattress beneath you is the very sand of that quiet beach. Let your breath rock you gently, like the tide itself has claimed the role of guardian. And if any last stray thoughts try to rise, smile softly at them and let them go. They can wait until tomorrow. For tonight, you belong only to this peace, this renewal, this rest. Good night, dear friend. Sleep well, sleep deep, sleep free.